This used to be me. Well, not him exactly, but I used to be just as fat as him. It took me 25 years of running, gymming, weight loss pills, fad diets, and meticulous calorie counting to realize that it's all lies. I mean, except for exercise, everything else you've been sold is a lie. The answer you've been looking for this entire time is something called insulin. This is literally what makes you fat. I used to think insulin was some type of medication for diabetics, but it's actually the hormone that tells your body to stop burning fat and start storing it. So if you're trying to reduce body fat and don't understand a word I just said, then this is for you. Because no diet or personal trainer will tell you what I'm about to tell you. The science behind why your body stores fat and how to actually get rid of it. But first, quick disclaimer. Okay, let's go. As you already know, you eat food for energy. Well, that energy is measured in calories. Let's say the average person needs 2,000 calories per day for basic bodily function. This is called the basal metabolic rate, or BMR for short, the number of calories required for survival. If the calories you consume exceed your BMR, then those excess calories are stored as fat in your body for reserve energy. If, however, your calorie intake is below your BMR, then the extra calories required are converted from fat stores in your body. This is how most people understand weight gain or weight loss. Unfortunately, this is only half the story and completely ignores the major role that insulin plays in this entire process. When insulin in your bloodstream is high and your caloric intake is less than your BMR, then something interesting happens. Because insulin tells your body to slow fat burning and start fat storing, instead of converting body fat to energy, your BMR adapts so that you burn less calories and use less energy. This is both truly amazing and utterly frustrating. Amazing if you're trying to survive from starvation, but frustrating if you're trying to burn body fat. So, what exactly is happening here? Well, first, I want to break down your life into two simple cycles: the fasting cycle and the feeding cycle. The fasting cycle is when you're not eating and your body goes from storing calories to burning calories. And the feeding cycle is the exact opposite. If you watched my sugar video, you'll know that when you consume something, your body breaks it down for its nutrients. During that process, glucose, the body's primary fuel source, gets into the bloodstream to be delivered throughout the body for energy. The only problem is that your cells essentially close their doors to glucose absorption, and the key to opening those doors is the hormone insulin. When glucose enters the bloodstream, insulin is immediately released in response and signals your cells to open their doors so glucose can be absorbed for energy or stored as fat. The moment insulin is in your bloodstream, fat burning slows dramatically. The more glucose in your meal, the higher your blood sugar levels, and the longer it takes to get all that glucose out of your blood and into your muscles for energy. So even if you stopped eating at 6 p.m, if your meal is high in carbohydrates, then high levels of insulin may still be present in your bloodstream a few hours later. This is important to understand because this means you'll still be in the feeding cycle, which is when fat storing is at a maximum. To give you some visuals, let's say you eat a high carbohydrate meal. First, your body uses as much glucose as it needs for immediate energy. Next, any extra glucose is then used to replenish your glycogen reserves in your liver and muscles, which is basically your energy source during the fasting cycle, but we'll come back to this in a minute. Finally, once your glycogen reserves are full, any remaining glucose then gets converted into fat stores around your body. This is why you're fat. Once all the glucose is out of your bloodstream, insulin levels fall dramatically, and so ends your feeding cycle. It's at this point that your fasting cycle begins as your blood sugar levels drop, causing your body to release the hormone glucagon. Glucagon is kind of the opposite of insulin, and signals your body to burn fat instead of store it. It's what allows you to convert glycogen, the backup energy stored during your feeding cycle, back into glucose and into the bloodstream for energy. Once your glycogen reserves are depleted, glucagon then stimulates the conversion of fat stores into energy, which is when high levels of body fat burning take place. So to quickly recap, if you eat often and eat high carbohydrate meals, then the consequent increase in blood sugar levels means insulin gets pumped into your bloodstream for a longer duration. Because of these high levels of insulin, fat storage is the priority whilst fat burning is not. Once blood sugar and insulin levels fall, glucagon is then released and fat burning finally gets prioritized. What this means is that if you habitually snack, eat a lot of small meals throughout the day, or binge heavily on carbs, then the message you're sending your body is a very loud and a very clear one. Store more body fat. Knowing all of this, weight management becomes much easier through metabolic flexibility. Metabolic flexibility is your ability to adapt to different fuel sources, glucose or fat, as the body requires. The better your metabolic flexibility, the quicker you can switch between fuel sources, and the more often you'll burn fat for energy. If you think about this in simpler terms, it can be the difference between a slow metabolism and a fast metabolism.
I know.
And I say this from experience as someone who thought for 25 years that he had a slow metabolism, only to find out that this was always within my control. So how do you improve metabolic flexibility? Well, you do this by training your body to burn fat more consistently and for longer periods of time, which you now know can only be achieved by keeping insulin levels low. And the best way to do this is through fasting. Fasting is plain and simple. Don't eat or drink anything other than water during your fast. In doing so, you keep insulin levels low, fat burning high, and metabolic flexibility improves dramatically. This doesn't mean you need to fast for 1 or 2 days, though I would advise it to truly understand your body's relationship with food. But simply skipping breakfast or dinner, provided you aren't snacking in between, is more than enough to improve your metabolic flexibility. And if you're someone that still believes you need to eat 3 times a day, then I'm telling you that you're dearly mistaken. Look, I get it. I've been there too. Whenever you skip a meal, your stomach starts growling, so you must be hungry, right? Maybe even hangry. You feel like you have no energy to function, let alone think, and you mentally check out until you've had your fill of carbs. Well, there's a good chance you're being a little bitch. You see, humans are so amazing that the signals telling you when to eat actually adapt to the meal times you set yourself. What I mean by this is if you eat at 8 AM, 1 PM, and 6 PM every day, then your body adapts to this schedule and sends hunger signals in anticipation of food at those exact times each day. This is what you'll learn from fasting. You can control your hunger. You just don't know it yet. What you'll find is that if you ignore your hunger signals for about 20 minutes, they stop and don't start again until your next mealtime approaches. What you'll also find is if you keep ignoring the same mealtime signals for 2 to 3 weeks, for example, if you keep ignoring the 8 AM hunger pangs, then your body will quieten hunger signals at this time, eventually acclimating to your new feeding schedule. Oh, and if you feel like your energy levels are too low during your fast, there's a good chance you're still being a little bitch. Okay, I'm sorry, I'll stop calling you a bitch. But keep in mind that your glycogen reserves in your muscles and liver, you know, that reserve energy we talked about earlier, it is more than enough to sustain you through a prolonged fast with a moderate gym session included. So the question is, how long will you fast? Let me know in the comments, and good luck. Thanks for watching, guys.